Hey YouTube, this is Southern Purple One and welcome to Boots on the Ground. If you live in the area of Little Falls, Minnesota, they have a meeting at March 13th at 5 p.m. in the Little Falls Middle School Media Center. This is in regards to some information that's being taught to students. One parent objected and was given a hard time about this. So if you could support this movement to give parents more authority than the school board, Little Falls, Minnesota, please attend. Russia has been exporting oil and selling it in non-Federal Reserve notes. India is purchasing a lot of this oil, and what's doing is it's definitely putting a crunch on the Federal Reserve note, because if you don't need Federal Reserve notes to buy oil, you can buy it in another currency. It is harming our Federal Reserve note. So India is really purchasing a lot of this, and rightfully so. They're looking for the best deal for their country. The Australian Navy is going to get 5 new U.S. Virginia-class nuclear power submarines. It's going to take a decade to build these. They could be built in the United States, but also they might not be. So that would be bad for us. There's plans that maybe they would be built overseas at another facility, which would definitely harm our industry, because we need the ability to build things. I am really concerned, though, they might not get them in time. They're buying these to counter the threat that China is imposing against Australia. General Motors will offer voluntary buyouts to a majority of its 58,000 U.S. white-collar employees as it aims to cut $2 billion in structural costs over the next 2 years. And this was from a letter sent to workers by the CEO. It's offered to all U.S. salary employees who have spent 5 or more years at the company as of June 30th. Outside of the U.S., the automaker will offer buyouts to executives with at least 2 years of time at the company. So this just shows you that they're definitely cost-cutting, because they're not as profitable as they need to be to keep their stockholders happy, and that just shows you that we are definitely going into a recession. This person says, we live near a nice-sized city of about 100,000. There's 2 large hospitals in our city. We had a recent visit to the ER when my husband was in terrible pain, kidney stones, which resulted in a 4-hour wait to see an ER nurse. The nurse told us they had shut down 1/3 of the hospital because of staffing shortage. There was only 1 ER doc on call and no beds available upstairs because of the shutdown. And this was definitely due to lack of nurses. The husband was admitted but had to stay in the ER and had an emergency procedure done the next afternoon. They were only able to do a temporary procedure and send him up for the rest of the procedure at the end of March, because the hospital shares this necessary medical machine for this procedure with many other hospitals within 150 miles. The doctor said funding and medical staff shortages are a big problem. Then we had to find a pharmacy that was open on the weekend. Only 2 pharmacies within 50 miles that are open on Saturday. When I walked in to fill the prescription, they had a sign on the store, hiring pharmacy technicians. No experience necessary. They will train you. I asked the pharmacist, and he said a big shortage of pharmacists and technicians. He said many of their pharmacies that used to be open late nights or weekends have dropped those schedules, and most of the other Walgreens in our area only have 1 pharmacist per store at a time. All the medical staff and pharmacists that serve us were very gracious and helpful, just very short staff, hence the long wait problems. Just another indicator of where our medical institutions are going. This was a report that said 68% of Americans could not cover their living expenses for even a month if they lost their job. This is Ruby's Pantry Food Distribution, and this is located in Minnesota. Tonight, we had our monthly food distribution at this site. We had 169 shares sold at $25 a share. A person can purchase as many shares as they want. And they gave us a list of the food products that were available. There was at least 25 volunteers helping to distribute the food. And they distribute in many areas in the Minnesota area. So if you need some assistance, $25 is not a lot of money for what they were giving. It was a great deal, and it definitely helps people. Last night I saw eggs going for $2.48 and plenty in stock. And I'm getting a lot of reports from all over the United States. Some areas, the egg prices are coming back almost to normal. Supplies are there and prices are down. So that's great news for consumers. Biden is requesting $842 billion for the Pentagon, up from $816 billion Congress approved for the last fiscal year, and well over the $773 billion he was asking for in 2022. The budget proposed investments to support the defense industrial base. That sounds like manufacturing. Also for nuclear modernization effort and a 5.2% pay increase for U.S. troops and civilian workforce. The president also wants to take on China and Russia. The request for the Defense Department included $9.1 billion to bolster the U.S. presence in the Indo-Pacific region and another $6 billion to support Ukraine and NATO allies. In the message to Congress, Biden said that this year's budget proposal cements our commitment to confront global challenges and to keep America safe. It outlines crucial investments to complete on global China's grip on us, also to continue support for Ukraine in the face of unprovoked Russian aggression, the president said. In Ukraine, it was reported that Russia unleashed a huge wave of missiles and rockets at targets across Ukraine, and they did fire some of their hypersonic missiles. I think they fired a total of 81 missiles, not all of them being the hypersonic. But using the hypersonic missiles, those are also capable of carrying nuclear weapons. And to my knowledge, I believe they're totally unstoppable with our current defense systems in place. This person said, I sent the following question to Discover, and that's the credit card company, today, and I received the following response. Sure, I understand your concern. The person asked them if we're going to start tracking by categorizing gun store purchases. And they want to know, is this a true statement? And they said, I feel it's an invasion of my privacy and freedom. And the company Discovery came back and says, in line with the industry, Discovery has halted plans to adopt a new code for guns and ammo purchases. Discovery has no plans to track cardholder purchases of firearms or to provide that information to anyone. We strongly believe the right of our customers to use their Discovery card for any legal purchase and remain committed to maintaining the privacy of their information. So that's good news. This person says, I heard from a pharmacy and said that the powers that be are now pushing for doctors to send all prescription through email. No more hand carrying your prescription to the pharmacy. They say it will cut down on abuse by patients who sometimes will add a number to how many pills they can have and then commit fraud. To me, it's just more government control over us. I'm not sure when this will be mandated, but it's not that far off in the future. We've been having patients having to go to different pharmacies to try to find prescriptions and to be told that the drug is on back order or they do not have it in stock. So this is a very real thing. They also said we have several Dollar Generals in the area closing early or completely locked up and leaving because they only have one person working the store. This is so crazy. One person to stock, deal with customers, pick up after customers. People that go through the self-checkout have zero problems stealing. They also said that these people are just overworked and many of them are quitting, and I understand that. If you had to work and do everything, very frustrating. This is from the Lithuanian Military Intelligence Service on Thursday, said it estimates that Russia has enough resources to wage 2 more years of war with Ukraine. Russia has been accumulating weapons and equipment over the long years of the Cold War. So yes, they have definitely stockpiled, and they're not a country to throw stuff away. They have tanks like from World War II. They would mothball it, and it is definitely paying off for them now. He said, a spokesman said, that they believe that for 2 more years they could definitely continue it. I'm wondering if we could continue it for 2 more years with our current inventory. I do not believe we could. They also said, though, this is the Lithuanian Military Intelligence Service, said that dissatisfaction with the regime policy is right now it's taking a passive form, mostly avoiding mobilization or being drafted. Also a lot of complaining about poor provisions and disarray in the army. It also raised the possibility that Russia's failures on the battlefield, further mobilization, and a sudden deterioration of the economic situation would have negative consequences for the stability of the regime. This is coming from Maryland. They sent me this and said, Maryland considering a new law that banned capital murder charges on anyone under 25. This is a license to kill. At the same time, they are considering extreme gun control laws, making it harder for law-abiding citizens to protect themselves. As a law-abiding citizen and a veteran and a 24-year public safety employee, I wonder whose side they are on. Not mine, the taxpayer. This person said, I looked at the May beef futures and they were way up 40% from last year. If you're buying beef at the store, buy now and stock up. Fill the chest freezer. I did not verify that, but I know they're rising. So yes, good time to stock up. The U.S. national debt will balloon by nearly $20 trillion over the next decade under the spending outlined in President Biden's $6.9 trillion budget that was released on Thursday. Under Biden's budget plan for fiscal 2024, the gross national debt would surge to nearly $51 trillion as of the year 2033. This is probably the most important article I'll cover today for you. Panic is spreading across the financial world as concerns about the financial stability of the Silicon Valley Bank, prompting venture capitalists to advise startups to withdraw their money. The turmoil followed a surprise announcement from Santa Clara, California-based SVB, which is Silicon Valley Bank, that it was issuing 2.25 million of shares to bolster its capital position after a significant loss on its investment portfolio. The stock plunged 44% in pre-market trading before exchanges opened in New York on Friday, set to extend 60% decline on Thursday. Bonds have posted record declines, igniting a broad sell-off in U.S. banking shares that have spread to Asia and Europe. In the U.S., the banking index had its worst day since June of 2020. Its members shedded more than $90 billion in value. In Europe, the biggest bank lost more than $40 billion from their market cap on Friday. Founders Fund asked its portfolio companies to move their money out of Silicon Valley Bank, according to a person familiar with the matter who asked not to be identified, to discuss this. So yes, definitely this one particular bank is in serious trouble. And Silicon Valley Bank is a real bank. It was founded in 1983, and it's a financial institute that tailors itself to startup companies. If you live in the Bay Area, you definitely know about it. And it's really embedded itself into the tech companies in that area. So yes, it is a concern. Will it be the start of a spread to other banks? No one will know. We'll just have to see. I'm not even going to guess at that. I just pray it doesn't. Norfolk Southern has had a lot of freight problems, and they have issued a warning because they believe there's some problems with some wheel sets on some of their cars that could be potentially the cause of some of these accidents. So they have asked the train operators to remove these. So hopefully this is an easy fix, because there's been a lot of accidents. I did hear on the news that there is around 1,000 train derailments a year. Now, some of these are very minor, but 1,000 a year. Lately, though, the ones that have derailed have had very, very bad consequences for people in that area. So hopefully this can resolve. I've had numerous people that work for the rail yards. These are maintenance men, and they're point blank told me there's not enough of them to do the job. A lot of the things they need to do are not done, and some of the stuff they say are just being written off as fine, and they're not fine. So there you go. There's some boots on the ground. There's some news that's happening that will affect you. Just keep prepping. Just keep living. Enjoy life. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. Thanks for watching.